Heartwarming encounter, young girl asks millionaire for milk, promises to pay back. What happens next will melt your heart. On one scorching summer afternoon, 10-year-old Lily stood before the towering mansion of Mr. Hargrove, her heart pounding like a drum. The sun blazed down mercilessly, but no heat could match the pressure boiling inside her. With her little brother sick at home and her mom unable to work after being laid off, she felt an urgency that no child should carry. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, clutching the hem of her worn t-shirt. "Excuse me, Mr. Hargrove?" she called, her voice trembling like a leaf. The man turned, a puzzled look on his face as he regarded her with cool indifference. She swallowed hard. "I just need some milk for my brother, please." At first, he scoffed, dismissing her as a mere inconvenience in his lavish life. "Go ask your neighbor," he grumbled, turning back. But the fire in Lily's bright eyes wouldn't flicker out. Instead, it sparked something in him. There, standing in the swirling summer air, she wore not just desperation but hope, a hope that began to chip away at Mr. Hargrove's frosty demeanor. "I'll pay you back. I promise," she insisted, her words laced with childlike determination. The mention of repayment stirred a flicker of something warm within him, a hesitation that caused him to pause, just for a moment. As days turned into weeks, Lily juggled her part-time job at Mr. Thompson's grocery store, her young shoulders burdened by bills piling up at home. She could feel the weight of responsibility constricting her chest like a vice. If she stumbled, would her mom and brother fall too? But beneath that pressure, kindness sprouted. Neighbors began to notice. Mrs. Wilson, her elderly neighbor, gifted them with fresh vegetables from her garden, and Timmy from next door offered to walk her brother to the playground. Then, a moment came that would change everything. One evening as the sun cast a silvery glow over their quiet street, Lily stood firm at Mr. Hargrove's doorstep once more. She'd beaten herself up over the debt she hadn't repaid yet felt she owed a bigger debt, a connection to someone who felt as lost as she did. "Mr. Hargrove, I know you're busy," she began, her heart racing, "but my family is really struggling, and I want to repay you what we owe. It's not just about the milk. It's about what it means to help each other." His expression hardened. Just as quickly, she let her vulnerability wash over her. "I'm scared. I want to be strong for my brother and mom," but her voice trailed off, her courage wavering as emotion filled her big, hopeful eyes. In that charged silence, something shifted in him. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let us continue. Mr. Hargrove's guarded facade cracked, but the thoughts of a man so accustomed to his solitary life tormented him. Would he embrace this unexpected connection with a spirited girl, or retreat back into his fortress of wealth? As he stood at this crucial crossroads, surrounded by echoes of their conversation, Lily's unwavering spirit hung in the balance, her plea a silent beacon lighting the way. With his choice looming, one question lingered in the air, charged with possibility: could a promise forged in need ignite a revolution of kindness that would forever alter their lives? The air crackled with tension as Mr. Hargrove stared at Lily, the weight of his isolation pressing heavily on his chest. Memories of his own childhood came flooding back, stark against the backdrop of his lavish lifestyle that, ironically, felt like a gilded cage. He could pluck anything from his endless wealth but struggled to find the warmth of human connection that Lily stood before him with. "Why should I care?" he muttered, more to himself than to her. The words tasted bitter, as if he still believed in the fortress he had built around his heart. Because everyone deserves help," Lily replied, her voice soft yet steadfast. "Even you." A bubble of surprise welled up in Mr. Hargrove's throat. Who was this child to think she understood him? Yet here she was, pouring her spirit into him, reminding him of the kindness he had forgotten. He shifted uncomfortably, glancing away as his polished world clashed with the stark authenticity of hers. "Lily, you don't know what you're asking," he warned, bravado fading as he caught the hurt flashing in her eyes. "Yes, I do. But it's not just about you helping me. It's about us." Her voice faded into a whisper, almost as if she were drawing him closer, urging him to see what was behind the walls he had put up. He inhaled sharply, taking a step back as if her words were a tangible force that could topple him over. Across the vast expanse of his lawn, the evening calm settled, and all he could hear were the distant sounds of children playing and laughter ringing in the warm air. His heart ached a strange feeling, something he hadn't experienced in years. "Why do you even need milk?" he asked abruptly, swallowing hard as he fought against the flood of his own emotions. "My brother," she replied, a fierceness igniting in her eyes. "Yes, my responsibility. And we just need help right now." In that moment, Mr. Hargrove felt something inside him crack open. It wasn't about the milk, nor the repayment. It was about seeing the world through the eyes of a child who offered not only her need but also the courage to ask. He took a deep breath, the taste of her vulnerability lingering like an unexpected sweetness on his tongue. I don't know how to help," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "Just start by saying yes," she encouraged. A long silence fell between them, an unyielding void where possibilities could either flourish or wither away. Mr. Hargrove stood there, almost a statue, trying to grasp the nettle of his own life. Could he allow this simple act, this small connection with a girl who saw more in him than he could see in himself, to reshape his heart? Suddenly, a burst of laughter from the children playing nearby jolted him from his reverie. It was a pure sound, a reminder that life was a tapestry of moments woven together by kindness and connection. Then, before he could second-guess himself, he took a step forward, extending his hand toward Lily. "Okay," he said, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside him. "Let us figure this out together." Her eyes lit up, the warmth of hope stirring within her as she reached for his hand. But in that instant, a thought flashed through his mind. What would this mean for them both? What if he became a different man? The estate, once a bastion of solitude, stood on the brink of transformation. Mr. Hargrove had opened a door that would take them on a journey through unforeseen territories of empathy and love. But just as they stood poised to embark on this new path, a loud crash broke the evening stillness, his butler rushing in with urgent news that would shatter the moment and change everything yet again. What could it be? Mr. Hargrove's mind raced as the butler's face, usually composed, was now etched with worry. It felt as if time had slowed. The connection he had just forged with Lily hung delicately in the balance. "What is it, Edmund?" he asked, his voice harsher than intended. It's Mrs. Hargrove," the butler stammered, breathless. "She's on the phone. She wants you to pick up right away." The mention of his wife pierced through the fragile moment. The warmth in the air quickly turned cold, memories of arguments and long silences flooding his mind. He glanced at Lily, her bright eyes faded with concern as she sensed the shift. "Mr. Hargrove, is everything all right?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. That he knew what awaited him on the other end of the line, a reprimand, likely a lecture about the importance of maintaining appearances, of keeping the wealthy in their proper places. He'd spent so long dodging her sharp tongue that he felt a quaint sense of dread wash over him. Yet, as he stood there staring into Lily's expectant face, he realized this moment meant something more profound. Turning away from his phone, he took a deep breath. "I don't need to take that call," he said firmly, surprising himself with the conviction in his voice. "Not now. Lily, let us talk about your brother." Her face brightened, the flicker of hope reigniting in her expression like the fading light of dusk returning at sunrise. "Really? You'll help?" "I'm not sure what that help will look like yet, but we can figure it out." "You shouldn't have to carry this alone," he replied, feeling a warmth spread in his chest. Edmund looked startled but respectful, stepping back as if giving them space, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. Mr. Hargrove felt something shift inside him too, a feeling he hadn't dared to entertain. Maybe, just maybe, he was ready to step outside of the shadows of his own life. "Thank you," Lily whispered, taking a small step closer, the weight of her gratitude tangible in the air. He felt a wave of emotion pass between them, binding them together with an understanding that went beyond words. In that moment, Mr. Hargrove realized the walls he had built were crumbling. "What do you need? A job? Money?" It's really just the milk," she interrupted, her smile softening his heart. "And something for my brother to eat. He has been sick, and any help would mean the world." Sick. A pang of guilt hit him harder than any call from his wife could. Here was this little girl, standing before him, her cheeks dirty and her hair tousled, fighting battles he could hardly comprehend. Yet, in her spirit, he found a spark that lit the dim corners of his own life. "Let us go to the store then," he proposed unexpectedly, his heart racing with the adrenaline of uncharted territory. "I'll buy you what you need." Her eyes sparkled, the innocence of hope erupting into joy. "Really? That's amazing." The transformation was immediate. Mr. Hargrove felt the heaviness of his past lift, replaced with the lightness of possibility. Together, they walked towards the car, and for the first time in many years, he felt the thrill of adventure. However, as they reached the vehicle, an unexpected figure leaned against it, shadow draped across the gleaming paint. The familiar figure of his wife stared back at him, eyes narrowed, her expression a mix of hostility and disbelief. "What in the world do you think you're doing?" she demanded, voice sharp as glass. Mr. Hargrove's heart sank, the contrast of warmth and confrontation stark. He glanced between Lily and his wife, the warmth of their shared moment at risk of shattering again. How could he explain this? How could he stand up for the connection he had just begun to embrace? The moment of truth loomed before him. Would he favor the life he knew, or could he fight for the bond that had begun to bloom in the most unexpected place? As the tension swirled, the answer hung just out of reach. What would he choose? Mr. Hargrove took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on him. His wife, Clara, remained rooted by the car, arms crossed tight against her chest. Beneath the cool exterior, he could see a storm brewing in her eyes. Lily, innocent and hopeful, stood beside him, shifting her weight nervously from one foot to the other. "Answer me." Clara snapped, impatience vibrating through her voice. "You didn't even tell me you were leaving." Mr. Hargrove felt the tight knot in his stomach tighten further. How could he defend his decision to help this child? "Clara, it's not what you think. This is Lily. What is she doing here?" Clara cut him off, glancing down at Lily, her tone unyielding. "Is this some sort of charity project, Gerald? This little girl looks like she needs a bath more than she needs your attention." The word stung, and Mr. Hargrove shot Clara a glare, defiance rising within him. "She's not a project. She needs help. Help we can give." Lily looked up at him, confusion flickering across her features. He wanted to shield her from the harshness, but she needed to know he was on her side. "It's okay, Lily. I'm going to get you what you need," he reassured her, then turned back to Clara, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "Why can't you understand that sometimes it's about more than appearances?" Clara's expression soured, and she stepped closer, narrowing the gap between them. "You're embarrassing us both. What will people think if they see you with what?" He interrupted, voice rising. "A girl who is struggling. A girl who has more courage than I've had in years." Lily winced at the escalating volume, and he felt a pang of regret. But amidst the fear, clarity washed over him. The life Clara represented had become a prison for him, and he was finally glimpsing the key to freedom, this little girl standing beside him, embodying hope and resilience. "Mr. Hargrove?" Lily's voice was tiny, but he turned to her, seeing the fear in her eyes. In that brief moment, he noticed her trembling hands. "I just need a few things for my brother. I didn't mean to get in trouble." He knelt, bringing himself down to her level. "You're not in trouble, Lily. You're brave to ask for help. I'll find a way to make this happen. Don't worry about anything else." She stared at him, and he could see the flicker of trust ignite behind her apprehensive demeanor. His heart swelled, a warm flood of emotion pushing back against Clara's cold presence. "Gerald, you're making a mistake," Clara said, her voice laced with exasperation. "Think about the consequences." He felt anger flare within him but paused, considering her words. Consequences. They stood there, 3 lives intertwined in that tense moment: his past, his present, and the uncertain future. Would he allow fear to dictate his choices once more? Clara's eyes narrowed further, and he could sense the fury simmering beneath her polished exterior. "This isn't over, Gerald," she hissed, before striding away, leaving a trail of discomfort in her wake. Demar. Hargrove rose slowly, his heart pounding, torn between indecision and conviction. He turned to Lily, who was now biting her lip nervously, uncertain of what to do next. "All right," he said, his voice strong yet tender. "Let us go. I'll take you to the store, and we'll get everything you need. Together." Lily's face lit up with gratitude as they walked toward the car, the warmth of their shared moment fighting back the chill that Clara's presence had cast. Maybe this was the step he needed to take, a step into light, away from shadows, but as they climbed into the car, he couldn't shake the feeling that Clara would not let this go easily. The battle for the life he truly wanted wasn't going to be effortless. What awaited them at the store? Would they find the relief Lily so desperately needed, or would Mr. Hargrove face more than just the repercussions of standing up for what felt right? As Mr. Hargrove started the engine, a warm hum filled the car, pushing back against the chilling tension that lingered in the air. The drive to the store felt surreal, like he was floating outside of his own life. Lily's grateful smile brightened the dimness that Clara's anger had woven into his thoughts. "Thank you for helping me," she said softly, her voice barely rising above the low hum of the engine. "Of course," he replied, glancing at her through the rearview mirror. "You deserve it. What do you need for your brother?" Lily's brow furrowed as she thought. "Just some milk and bread. Maybe some fruit, too. He really likes apples." "Sounds good," he said, hoping to mask the knot of worry tightening in his chest. A simple grocery list for a little boy defined by needs and love. Yet, it weighed heavily on him, both for Lily's brother and the life choices he was making. Pulling into the grocery store parking lot, Mr. Hargrove parked the car, but hesitated before stepping out. He turned to Lily, who was watching him with wide, hopeful eyes. "Are you ready?" She nodded vigorously, her apprehension fading against the glimmer of shared purpose. Together, they stepped into the bright fluorescent light of the store, and the buzz of daily life surrounded them. He grabbed a small basket, scanning the clean aisles filled with vibrant colors and scents. "Let's start with milk," he offered, moving toward the dairy section. As they walked, he caught sight of fellow shoppers glancing their way, eyebrows raised, whispers shared. That's when the reality of his decision hit him again, heavy as a stone. "What is it?" Lily asked, sensing his distraction. "Nothing," he assured her with a soft smile that didn't touch his eyes. But the truth was swirling inside. He'd chosen the path less traveled by staying with Lily. He'd broken a norm, challenged expectations, and now, he could feel the consequences creeping closer. Lily's small hand found his, her fingers wrapping around his like a warm promise. "Don't be scared. We'll be okay," she said with an innocent determination that made his heart ache. She was right. There wouldn't be relief unless they pushed through. Nodding to himself, he steered them toward the milk, a sense of purpose filling him like the cool breeze as he pulled open the refrigerator door. The milk carton felt heavy in his hands, full of hope for a boy's dreams and the simple safety that came with it. "Okay, what's next?" "Bread." Lily chimed, and together they moved through the aisles, picking up what was needed with each step. Apples were added, their crisp red skin catching the light and shining like little hearts. As they reached the checkout, Mr. Hargrove couldn't shake the feeling of being a fraudulent benefactor in a world built on appearances. Just then, an elderly woman with twinkling blue eyes in the line ahead turned to them. "I've seen you before," she said, assessing him with a kind smile. "You're that wealthy businessman, aren't you?" Mr. Hargrove stiffened. "Yes, I am. I admire what you're doing," she said, nodding at Lily. Not everyone would stop to help a little girl like her. His cheeks flushed, but it wasn't from pride. Instead, a wave of vulnerability washed over him. He wasn't doing this for applause, he was doing it because it was right. Just as he prepared to respond, Clara's voice echoed in his mind. What would she think of this moment? Disapproving, scathing, cold. But as he looked at Lily's hopeful smile and the acceptance from the woman, he felt the walls he'd built around his heart cracking, a glimpse of something warm and expansive breaking in. "Thank you, ma'am," he said, unable to hide the tremor in his voice. As they unloaded the items onto the counter, he noticed Lily's excitement bubbling over. The cashier smiled at her, and for a moment, he allowed himself to relax. They may have been different, but in that store, under fluorescent lights, humanity transcended wealth. As they walked out, bags in hand, the weight on his heart felt a little lighter. Still, he couldn't ignore the shadows lurking behind their simple joy. Clara would undoubtedly retaliate for his choices, and that thought loomed just as heavily as before. "Mr. Hargrove?" Lily's voice broke through, drawing his gaze to her innocent face. "What if my brother likes bread? What if he is sad without me?" He knelt down, meeting her worried eyes. "You'll be there. You'll make it better. You're already doing that." But as the sun began to set, casting long shadows on the pavement, he realized there might not be a happy ending on this path. How would they face the looming challenges ahead? Would he have the strength to stand against Clara and protect what mattered most? The uncertainty hung in the air, heavy and unresolved, just like the rising tension in his chest. As they stepped outside, the cool evening breeze danced around them, playful yet filled with an unspoken weight. Mr. Hargrove glanced at Lily, her small figure illuminated by the fading light, and felt a blend of warmth and fear, two emotions battling for dominance within him. "Let us hurry home, okay?" he said, slipping the bags into the trunk. He wanted to shield her from whatever dangers awaited. "Can I carry the apples?" she asked, her face lighting up with that sense of purpose again. "Sure, honey. Just hold on tight." As they made their way back to the car, Mr. Hargrove's focus drifted. People filed past them, each lost in their own worlds, yet their gazes often landed on him. He could almost hear the whispers. They were about him, about Lily, about how a wealthy man was spending time with a girl who clearly needed help. He tightened his grip on the wheel as he started the engine again, a storm of thoughts swirling in his mind. "You all right?" Lily asked, noticing his distraction. "Just thinking," he replied, forcing a smile that felt more like an effort than a natural expression. The car ride was punctuated by silence, the hum of the engine offering a strange sort of comfort, yet it couldn't drown out the approaching storm that was Clara. He knew he needed to prepare himself. Clara's sharp tongue could cut through any semblance of peace he hoped to build. Would he be able to stand firm? Would she even care enough to engage, or would her disapproval push him further away? "Mr. Hargrove?" Lily's voice broke through the cloud of his thoughts again. "What if I can't make him happy, even with the bread?" He turned to her, those innocent eyes searching his for reassurance. "You already make him happy just by being there." Her face brightened, yet he still sensed her fear, an echo of his own. What if he couldn't protect her? What if he couldn't shield her from the chaos of his life? When they reached her building, Mr. Hargrove parked and took a deep breath. The sunlight was nearly gone, and shadows filled in the edges of the world around them. He felt the weight of their groceries in the trunk, but more so the weight of decisions looming ahead. "I'll help you carry the bags." He stepped out, his ears catching the evening sounds of the city cars honking, people laughing, an undercurrent of life thrumming away. Okay. Lily chirped, and together they made their way toward the entrance. The elevator ride was filled with anticipation, each ding of the floor sounding monumental. The small space felt tight, electric with both anxiety and warmth from their shared mission. What if my brother asks why you're helping me? She pondered aloud. Mr. Hargrove swallowed hard. Then you tell him that sometimes people just want to do good things for one another. Will you be okay? She asked, a gravity in her voice that underscored her sincerity. Her concern pierced him. Yes, I think so. His voice trailed. The truth was that he didn't know. Would he be able to fight off Clara's objections, defend this connection, protect her innocent heart? When they reached her apartment door, Lily rummaged for the key, her little fingers trembling slightly around it. I'm so excited for him to see the apples. Her enthusiasm sparked a smile on his face, but deep inside, he wrestled with uncertainty. As the door creaked open, he caught a glimpse of a cozy space, a small kitchen, a scattered assortment of toys, and a photo on the wall of a smiling boy wrapped in Lily's joyful embrace. It vanished quickly, but the image left a soft ache in his heart. You should see him, she proclaimed, rushing inside with youthful exuberance. Max. I brought you groceries. Mr. Hargrove lingered at the threshold, feeling the energy shift. An unexpected wave of protectiveness washed over him, flooding him with determination. He stepped inside, ready to face whatever awaited him. But just as he settled his eyes on the small, playful figure rushing toward Lily, the sense of dread returned, and all of his vulnerabilities flooded back. Would he be welcomed into this small world, or would Clara's shadow stretch over them and threaten to pull him back? Just as thoughts spiraled in his mind, he heard the door slam shut behind him. Missing Clara was only the beginning. The real confrontation, the real test of his resolve, was yet to come. How would he navigate this newfound connection when the very foundations of his life threatened to unravel? The storm was brewing, but he had an unlikely ally at his side. Would she be enough to keep him grounded? Mr. Hargrove stepped further into the apartment, bracing himself as laughter echoed around him. Max's small frame darted around, a whirlwind of energy bubbling with excitement. Lily bent down, presenting the apples like offering sacred treasures, her smile wide enough to light up the room. Look what I brought, she exclaimed, her voice bubbling over with delight. Max, his eyes shining, reached out for the apples, his tiny hands trembling with anticipation. Wow! Thanks, Lily. He turned his attention to Mr. Hargrove, sizing him up. Who is that? Lily bounced on her feet. This is Mr. Hargrove. He helps me. Hi, Max said, stretching his arm for a polite handshake. Mr. Hargrove took it, squeezing gently. This was unexpected. The boy seemed at ease, innocent of the turbulent thoughts that swirled in Mr. Hargrove's mind. Nice to meet you, Max, he replied, his voice steady as he fought to keep his nerves in check. A door swung open down the hallway, and the air grew thick with tension. Clara emerged, her expression shifting from surprise to scrutiny as she recognized Mr. Hargrove standing there. The initial warmth of the moment evaporated, replaced with her piercing gaze. What are you doing here? She asked, her voice low and edged. Mr. Hargrove's heart raced in his chest. He could feel Lily's presence beside him, her excitement dimming as she sensed the change in the room. I just came to drop off some things for the kids, he said, trying to sound nonchalant while keeping his body language open. Clara crossed her arms, her stance an impenetrable barrier. What's in it for you? What do you want? His brow furrowed, and he swallowed hard, searching for the right words. I just want to help. You know, sometimes people do good things for one another without expecting anything in return. She snorted lightly, her skepticism apparent. You think you can just waltz in here and play the hero? You don't know anything about us. Actually, I do, he said, his tone firm yet even. I see what Lily brings to this family. She deserves support, not judgment. And Max is just a kid. They shouldn't have to face this alone. Tension crackled in the air, and for a moment, Clara's resolve wavered. Max took a step toward her, his small hand clutching the apples. Don't be mean, Clara. He's nice. Sometimes, children have a way of cutting through negativity, their honesty so pure that it leaves adults humbled. Clara looked down at Max, the fight in her heart expression softening, even if only a fraction. Max, she started, but the boy's eyes lit with hope, waiting for a sign of approval. There's no need to be like this, Mr. Hargrove continued, willing his voice to remain calm. I care about Lily, and I want to help both of you. It's about family, isn't it? Lily stepped forward, her innocence shining through the darkness. Can we be a family, at least a little? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper, yet dripping with the kind of honesty only a child can possess. The atmosphere shifted again, and for a brief moment, Clara's tough exterior cracked. Mr. Hargrove took his shot. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small bag of candy, holding it up like a peace offering. Here, he said, his heart racing. Something sweet for the kids. A little treat while we figure this out. Clara's eyes flickered, uncertain. The candy felt like a small gesture, but it was heavy with meaning. Mr. Hargrove, what do you really want? She pressed, her voice quieter now. I want to help you all, he replied, his sincerity shining like a beacon. The second stretched into an eternity, and Mr. Hargrove could feel hope flickering in the air like a candle battling the wind. Would Clara accept his offer for support, or would her shadows close in around them once more? The question hung heavily, waiting for an answer in the charged atmosphere filled with fragile possibilities. Clara's eyes remained locked on Mr. Hargrove as she weighed the words that hung in the air between them. The silence felt thick, charged with unsaid emotions, fear, hope, and an unshakable weariness that had followed her for too long. Her arms slowly dropped to her sides, the defensive posture softening. You think a bag of candy fixes everything? She asked, though her voice held less hostility than before. Mr. Hargrove stepped forward, the urgency in his chest rising. No, but it's a start. You don't have to do this alone. I'm here. Lily looked back and forth between the two adults, her innocent confusion painting her face. Can't we just be friends? She asked, her small voice carrying an undeniable weight. The words seemed to reverberate in the room, softening the tension even more. Clara inhaled deeply, as if steeling herself against a tide of emotion. Being friends is harder than it sounds, kiddo, she said, shaking her head lightly. But the flicker of a smile began to form. Max, emboldened by the conversation, dropped the apples into Clara's hands and jumped up. Can we try? Please. His enthusiasm poured outward like sunshine, illuminating the room once again. The corners of Clara's mouth twitched upward reluctantly. This isn't a fairy tale, Max. It's complicated. But we can make it better. He insisted, his voice rising in excitement. Hargrove forced a smile, hoping to bridge the divide. Complicated doesn't mean impossible. It means we just need to try together. Clara's guarded heart faltered at the earnestness in Mr. Hargrove's eyes. There was something genuine there, a pull she hadn't felt in a long time. With a sigh, she relented, ever so slightly. Fine, she said, almost too quietly. Let us see what this looks like. But no buts. Lily chimed in, her spirit unyielding. Okay, Clara replied with a smile breaking through, her eyes glistening as she watched her children. We'll try. Mr. Hargrove felt a wave of relief wash over him. The tiniest seed of connection had taken root in the most unlikely of places. That's all I'm asking for, he said softly. Just a chance to help. The atmosphere shifted entirely as Clara took the bag of candy and handed it to Max, who tore it open like it held the secrets to happiness. Laughter bubbled up again, light-hearted and warm, chasing away the shadows. As they settled into a tentative camaraderie, Mr. Hargrove couldn't shake the feeling that this was merely the beginning. What would it take to truly become part of their lives? He glimpsed the challenges that lay ahead but felt a sense of urgency urging him onward. Maybe we can plan a picnic for the weekend? He suggested, addressing everyone. A little fun outside, just the four of us. Yeah. Both kids shouted in unison, their faces lighting up like stars. Clara's heart softened a fraction more, though her expression still held a trace of caution. Let us not get ahead of ourselves, she warned, but her voice lacked conviction as she watched her children brush past their earlier fears. As they began to rally around this new possibility, a warmth unfurled in Mr. Hargrove's chest. The hugs, laughter, and the promise of a shared future floated just out of reach, tantalizing in its potential, but deep inside, Clara felt a storm brewing. Could she really let someone in like this? And what would it mean if she did? Those questions hovered over them like an impending thunderstorm, reminding them that the journey to trust wouldn't come easy. Mr. Hargrove sensed it too, the uncertainty clinging to the air, unnoticed yet palpable. Just as they started to build something new together, would the shadows of their past come crashing down, or would they stand together to breathe light into the darkness? The tension returned, crackling like static between them, ready to unleash whatever fate awaited them. Clara hardly slept that night. The flickering light from the street lamp outside cast shadows that danced across the walls, mirroring the turmoil in her heart. She tossed and turned, wrestling with the weight of her decision. With every twist in her sheets, a new worry surfaced. What if things don't change? What if I get hurt again? When dawn finally broke, it brought with it a fresh wave of uncertainty. Clara rose early, determined to fill the silence of her home with something positive. As she cooked breakfast, the smell of pancakes wafted through the air, mingling with the hopeful buzz in her chest. She was resolved to keep the promise made to her children, a small step towards weaving their lives together. Lily bounded into the kitchen, her hair tousled from sleep, and wrapped her arms around Clara's waist. "Mom, can we go to the picnic now?" she asked with wide, sparkling eyes, full of innocence and excitement. "Not yet, sweetie. We have to wait for Max." Clara turned her attention back to the stove, a smile creeping onto her face at her daughter's eagerness. With the table set, Max stumbled in, rubbing his eyes. "Did I miss breakfast?" he exclaimed, before spotting the steaming stack of pancakes. "Never mind. Yum." As they ate, laughter echoed off the walls, lifting Clara's spirits. She watched her children seamlessly interact, their joy tangible like the warmth of the sun breaking through the morning clouds. It reminded her of simpler times, before life veered off course. Later, with a lightness in their hearts, Clara gathered the picnic basket: sandwiches, fruit, a thermos filled with lemonade, and of course, a bag of candy. The kids hopped around her like puppies, their timers set for the moment they would burst onto the field with Mr. Hargrove. When the time came, they drove to the park, Clara's heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and hesitation. A picnic seemed simple, but could it truly mend fractures that ran deep? As they approached, Mr. Hargrove was already there, setting up a blanket under a sprawling oak tree. He looked casual, his smile wide as he waved them over, breaking through Clara's anxious veil. "Wow, this looks amazing!" Max exclaimed, rushing forward to help. Clara observed their interaction, a spark of something relief, maybe. The ease with which the kids engaged with him gave her a flicker of hope. "I thought we could play some games after we eat," Mr. Hargrove suggested, laying out his offerings: a basket of balls and a kite, colors bright under the midday sun. Amidst the initial chatter, Clara's guard began to lower. The laughter of her kids echoed around them, drawing her deeper into the moment. Maybe, just maybe, this could work. But as they settled down for lunch, a stranger's voice cut through the laughter. "Hey! What is going on here?" A tall figure approached, a man wearing a suit that contrasted sharply with their casual picnic vibe. Clara's stomach twisted. She recognized him immediately. He was someone from her past, someone who could dredge up memories she fought hard to bury. Her breath quickened as he drew nearer, a predatory look in his eye. What a nice little family day, he stated, his tone dripping with mock sweetness. Clara's heart raced. She felt the protective instinct kick in as Mr. Hargrove turned, confusion flashing across his face. The air shifted, and tension rippled between them. "Who is that?" Mr. Hargrove asked, concern threading his voice as he stood closer to Clara. How would she explain? Would he understand the weight of her past? In that moment, as Clara gathered the courage to speak, she realized that this evening might take a turn she never anticipated. The picnic, the laughter, all of it could be unwound in an instant. As Clara met the gaze of the man who had haunted her for far too long, she wondered if the day would end in peace or chaos. Would she protect her newfound chance for happiness, or would the shadows pull her back? What would happen next? Clara took a deep breath, steeling herself against the sudden onslaught of memories that hit her like a tidal wave. She glanced at her children, their innocent faces turned toward her, eyes alight with excitement. She couldn't let the past close in on them now. Not when they had just begun weaving something beautiful together. Just a picnic, she managed to say, her voice steady despite the turmoil swirling inside. A chance for the kids to have some fun. Fun? The man replied, raising an eyebrow with a sinister smirk. Looks more like a charity case to me. Mr. Hargrove stepped closer to Clara, his arm brushing against hers in a subtle display of support. This isn't charity, this is family, he asserted, determination lacing his voice like steel. The man's expression darkened as he glanced at Mr. Hargrove, sizing him up. Family, huh? Interesting choice of word for a guy like you. Clara felt her heart race as, for the first time, the shadow of her past bore down with tangible weight, fueled by years of emotional turmoil. Don't, she started, gripping the picnic basket tightly, but a voice inside urged her to keep the focus on her children. You don't get to decide what our family looks like. Strong words for someone with baggage, he replied, taking a step forward as if to invade her space. But this time, Clara stood firm, a surge of courage rising within her. I'm stronger than you think. I've fought too hard to keep my family together, she said, her voice unwavering. She glanced at Mr. Hargrove again, remembering the kindness he'd shown to Lily and Max, and something sparked within her heart, a small flame of hope. Let us not engage with someone who doesn't bring light to our picnic, Mr. Hargrove added quietly yet firmly, addressing Clara's fears with grace. We're here for the kids. His words washed over her like a balm, and she nodded, feeling the warmth of their shared resolve. The intruder sneered, but the discomfort in his eyes betrayed a hint of retreat. Fine. Enjoy your little friend's day, the man said with a dismissive wave, turning away from their gathering as a cloud lifted, revealing the sun. Lily and Max, oblivious to the tension, resumed their play as the figure retreated, their laughter ringing through the air like sweet music. Clara felt her shoulders relax, relief flooding through her veins. Mr. Hargrove turned to her, concern etched in his features. Are you okay? Clara swallowed hard, but the gratitude bubbled up. I'm okay. Thank you for being here. He offered her a gentle smile, one that promised solidarity in the face of challenges. As they settled down in the grass, Clara felt the warmth of possibility blooming between them, a new bond forged by trust, shared struggles, and the laughter of children breaking the silence. Spotting the bag of candy, Max jumped up. Let us share these, he exclaimed, lifting the colorful wrappers high. For the first time that day, Clara smiled widely, imagining the innocence of childhood returning to her family. As laughter erupted, turning shadows into sunlight, she felt a warmth wrap around her heart. What's next? Mr. Hargrove asked, eyeing the basket filled with goodies as the children tore into their snacks. Games. Lily shouted, her small hand tugging at Mr. Hargrove's sleeve. Come play with us. Why not? He replied, chuckling. He joined them, scattering candies and opening boxes as laughter filled the air again. Clara watched, her heart swelling as the bond between them grew stronger, the possibility of a new beginning gracing their fragile reunion like a soft breeze. Amidst the games and laughter, Clara felt older wounds begin to heal, each giggle washing away the burdens they had carried for so long. For the first time, she could envision a future built not on isolation, but on hope and connection. As the sun dipped lower, casting a warm glow over the picnic, Clara caught Mr. Hargrove's eye. In that fleeting moment, an understanding passed between them, a shared awareness that they were no longer alone in their struggles. "Thank you for today," she whispered as they settled down, a sense of peace washing over them. Mr. Hargrove turned to the kids, who were now racing one another, the light in their eyes illuminating the path they were forging. "This is just the beginning," he said softly, conviction threading through his words. Quietly, Clara echoed him in her heart. Yes, it was just the beginning, a fresh start where goodwill, family, and understanding could take root in their lives, promising something beautiful ahead. As twilight enveloped them, with laughter still dancing in the air, Clara resolved to support this growth. In the laughter of her children, in Mr. Hargrove's steadfast presence, she felt the kind of love that could weather any storm, and she would cherish it fiercely. Now, loyal friends, it's your moment to support this journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that need your voice. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach souls who need this warmth in their lives. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible journey. You need to stand by us and make your voice heard. Let's spread this love together.